Now that I've seen all 4 Toy Story movies, Woody's journey from the very beginning to the very end is a fascinating one, so let's talk about it.
Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my theological analysis for Toy Story, the journey of Woody. His journey from the very beginning, from the first Toy Story movie to the last one, is fascinating. Because, you know, the whole idea of a lost toy is a toy that doesn't have a kid. But Woody ends the whole Toy Story franchise by choosing Bo Peep over going back with Bonnie. So in a sense, he doesn't have a kid anymore. And yet, he's not a lost toy because he had found his purpose. Look, being a toy, what I've learned from the Toy Story franchise, is so freaking horrific. It's gotta be like one unceasing nightmare after another.
Lifetime on a dime store shelf.
We're all just trash, waiting to be thrown away. That's all a toy is.
Jesus said this: when the storms come, if you build your life on the sand, the house won't stand. But if you build your house on the rock, when the rain and when the storm comes, it will stand. See, what Jesus said is the storms will come. That's just gonna happen. So what matters is your foundation. It matters where you build your life. When you get into Toy Story 2, you got Stinky Pete. Poor dude, I really do feel bad. The dude had a storm in his life. Here he is, a fresh new toy put in a box, and he's excited, like all toys, to be played with, to have a kid. But no kid wants Stinky Pete. Not when there's a Woody doll, not when there's a Jessie doll, not when there's Bullseye, not when there's all kinds of other excellent toys and space toys. So this storm came upon his life. And you know what he did? He built his life on that sand. He built his life on that sand and wanted to stay in his box and be in mint condition. And so when Jessie had the same kind of fear and the same kind of thing in her life where her kid outgrew her and she was donated after spending years under the bed gathering dust and never being played with, so she was deeply wounded, he preyed upon that fear because, you know, he didn't really want to be alone. So if he's drowning, he's going to take whoever down with him that he can.
Now get in the box. Never. Fine.
And so what he wants is to continue to play it safe, to be in mint condition, to be in that box, to go to Japan, to be in this museum, and to be admired by kids from a safe distance. Yeah, by doing that, he is safe from the pain that he had been through all of his life. True, but he's also safe from any real love and any real joy worth having. Lotso Bear is in the same position. What a flippin' tragedy to have Daisy and to have that love and to be the absolute favorite toy. And then to have her be on a picnic and just innocently fall asleep and the stupid parents forget the stinking toy. It's the parents' fault, not Daisy's fault. But he and the other 2 toys make a horrific journey back to the house in the rain. I'm telling you, that dude don't smell like strawberries, okay? He smells like dirty mold because that is what's growing inside of him. I'm just being totally honest with you. But he comes back and sees that he's been replaced. So now what does he do? He feels like trash. He believes that he's trash. He acts like trash. The fact that he had so little control over all of that and was wounded so bad, when he goes to Sunnyside, he takes control. And he begins to build this house, his own house of control. And that's why Sunnyside is so oppressive, because that hatred and that bitterness and that anger became the foundation of this house that he built at Sunnyside. So it's a house filled with anger. When Woody shows up and his friends show up, they represent a storm to that house because they represent change and they represent something new. In fact, they represent something better.
She loved you, Lotso.
She never loved me.
As much as any kid ever loved a toy.
And in light of that storm and in light of that change that came, the house of Sunnyside could not stand. And as it began to collapse, once again, we have Lotso Bear unraveling.
What? You want your mommy back? She never loved you. Don't be such a baby.
Like, he just begins to lose it. In fact, he falls into such a spiral of hatred and bitterness that when he's in that trash pile and he's stuck and he's about to be shredded and he's treated Woody like crap, He's treated Woody's friends like crap. He's shown nothing but hatred toward them. And Woody jumps down and saves him. That should have been a moment that warmed his heart. And he repaid Woody.
Where's your kid now, Sheriff?
I mean, that's the type of bitterness that had reigned in his heart. That is the foundation. And it left him being tied to the grill of a truck when he built his life upon that foundation. When the rain and the storm came, it fell. Man, when you have that doll in Toy Story 4.
Hi there, my name is Gabby.
We can't stay.
Yes, you can. Boys.
That built her whole house on having Woody's voice box so that she could be loved by that little girl. When the storm came and that little girl said, "Oh, what a cute little toy. Oh, well," and threw it away, man, her whole world unraveled. But thankfully, Woody was there to help her understand what a real foundation was and led her to a lost child so that they can complete each other in a sense, so that she could find her purpose and find a home and find that love and hope that she'd been looking for all of her life. She had every right to become Lotso and paint all humans with that broad brush. But Woody showed her a better path, and she followed that better path. See, that's the thing about Woody. He has built his life on the rock. He has encountered every temptation that those toys have. Yeah, he had a better advantage. He was the favorite toy of Andy. But what Woody didn't realize was he placed a lot of value in being that favorite toy. You know, he told all the toys, yeah, it's birthday, it's a Christmas, but don't be afraid, guys. You can't be replaced because the purpose of our existence is just to be there for Andy. But he wasn't listening to his own sermons because he was kind of wrapped up in being the favorite. When Buzz Lightyear came, man, jealousy entered Woody's heart. Buzz became one of the biggest threats to Woody's existence. And in a sense, Woody was almost the villain of Toy Story 1. He began to completely unravel. But then something magical happened. Woody humbled himself. And when he humbled himself, Buzz, who was his greatest threat, became his best friend. And Andy loved both toys equally. Woody could have made his life as hard as Stinky Pete's. Woody could have made his life as hard as Lotso Bear right then and right there. But he didn't, simply because he let go of his right to be angry. He humbled himself and he built his life on that bedrock of love instead of the sand of jealousy, the sand of I'm the best, the sand of it should be this way. And when he had his life built on that rock, that storm came and he was able to weather it. And Toy Story 2, he had that temptation to avoid the pain of Andy growing out of him. He had that temptation to go to Japan, live in a box, and always be admired by children. But like I said earlier, he realized that's not any love and that's not any joy worth having. I'm not going to put up those walls like he almost did, and he was so tempted to. But because his life was built on the rock, when that storm came, when that temptation came, he was able to weather it and was standing after it was over, and even was able to provide a new home for Jesse and Bullseye. He could have provided that new home for Stinky Pete, but Stinky Pete just wouldn't do it. And then you have Lotso Bear. Again, all the stuff that Woody has been through, he still chose to help and save Lotso Bear, despite what Lotso did to him. Despite the stuff they'd been through, he went to save Lotso Bear's life. Reason being is when that season of change was upon him, when Andy finally did outgrow him, his purpose was to be there. And even though the time had come for him to move on, he found somebody else to be there for. Now, when you get into Toy Story 4, it's the aftermath of that. And you know what? That's life, isn't it? We have those great revelations. This is my purpose. And then we enter that and it's like, oh, this is so not what I thought it was. That was Woody. Not only was he not the favorite toy with Bonnie and so re-encountered that same kind of jealousy and same kind of fear, but he was left in the closet altogether. He even got a dust bunny. A spork had more love in her eyes than him. He's in a totally different position now, and he is struggling to find purpose. And the fact that he tried to find purpose and making sure that Bonnie never lost Sporky, who kept wanting to throw himself away, he had to teach Sporky, you're not trash. You are the apple of her eye, man. She loves you. Realize how blessed you are and just be a flippin' toy. And so he had to find that purpose. But the truth is, his purpose was to be loved. That's what he was created for. And when he saw Bo Peep again, and realized how much she loved him and how much he loved her. That's why he was able to let go of Bonnie. See, the idea of Toy Story 4 is, what is a lost toy? Is it a toy that doesn't have a kid? Or is it a toy that has no purpose, that has lost who it really is on the inside? Now, Woody was going through that storm of trying to figure out who he was and what's his purpose now that his purpose with Andy is done and fulfilled. But the truth is, he was created to be loved. And so when he refound Bo Peep, he realized, I am loved and I love her. And when he chose Bo Peep, he was more found in that moment than he ever was. It's amazing how when we have our lives built on the rock instead of on the shifting sand, how things become stepping stones from one place to the other. We still have our battles and storms still come in life. And I know for me, having my life built on Jesus as the rock for my life, when my identity is wrapped up in him, it doesn't matter what's going on the outside. But like Woody, I've wrapped up my identity in wrong things. Like Woody, I've stumbled and I've fallen. But man, at the end of the day, when I realize my identity and my life is built on that solid rock of my relationship with Jesus, then no matter what it is I'm going through in life, that's where my identity is, and that's where my purpose is. My life built on that rock. So when you watch the Toy Story franchise, what do you see in this? What's your favorite Toy Story movie? Let's talk about that in the comments. While you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian, and hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next theological analysis, movie review, ranking video, or anything else I do here. And if you like what I do here, check out my Patreon page. I got the link to that in the description. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.